Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Founder Layro with Fantasy Grounds College. Today we're going to build a druid using the Fantasy Grounds Unity platform. This is also using the D&D 5e rule set. I am also going to be employing some third-party tools such as Rob2e's coding effects package, and I'm also going to dabble with Diablo Bob's Critical Druid Essentials, where you can actually transform your druid into your favorite wild shape. And then I'm going to go through a little bit of lore. We're going to build his background just a little bit, and we're going to fully flesh out and code everything. So it's going to take a little while to build this character. I imagine about 90 minutes. If you are somebody who wants a quick tutorial, this is not a video for you. If you want something very thorough, and if you want to learn something, you can follow along and watch the video. If not, no big deal. But this is mainly to help people get the idea of how to add a little bit more lore and background and flesh their characters out more thoroughly instead of just building something, throwing it together. So this is more of an in-depth character build. So I'm going to get started. So right now I just have a blank character sheet. I also have some background pictures that I made just to kind of give me a mood and a feel for it, because you need inspiration sometimes when you're building characters. Otherwise, you're just kind of going through the motions and get very monotonous. So that's why I kind of have the music and I have the photos and everything. And I actually made my own little tokens out of this photo. So I took and built some photos, and I'll show you what those look like here shortly. The other thing is I'm using the wood theme, so I figured that would be really fitting for a kind of a nature druid type build. I also changed my dice color to green and white so that we can kind of get the flavor and the theme of things. I haven't done anything to the character other than add the name and the token and the portrait. Also in my library I have a majority of the content required for the D&D 5e character building. I also have the Critically Awesome Essentials One-Click Druid and the One-Click More modules loaded, as well as the extension. I have some of Rob2e's coding effects, where a lot of them loaded. I also have the Critically Awesome Essentials module for the DM tools. I have the player tools. I have something that Matakire converted a long time ago, which is the Roderick's Compendium. It's plants and fungi across the realms. I thought that'd be interesting to add. Also, here's all the core books. I added a forest pack because I want to check out a map. I've added some other lore, animal sidekicks. I even have Unearthed Arcana loaded in case I want to pull something out of there. Let's see, what else do I have? I have some Archfey type stuff in here, Elvish archetypes. I think I'm going to make him either a Wood Elf or maybe a Half Elf, not Ranger, but a Druid. And then I have some of the Faiths loaded here, so if you want to add religious aspects to your character. I've also have the Forest Kingdoms loaded by Legendary Games, and then I have a bunch of bestiaries and things that are related to the Forgotten Realms, so got quite a bit of content loaded here for a character build, but I don't want to have to do this during the stream, so I got all that loaded ahead of time. So with that said, I got quite a bit of material that I can use for creating content. The main thing is that I want you guys to learn the process if you're going to learn something out of this, and also to inspire you to put a little bit more effort into your character builds. I think a lot of us, especially game masters, we get caught up in the rules and the minutia of it, when it's actually could be very fun and rewarding. And especially when you have characters playing with you at your table, you definitely want to have some sort of basis to inspire them to create good characters. So I'm going to get started. So I have them on the combat tracker right now. I only did that so later on we can test things out. And then later on I'll put them on a map, and maybe I'll even do a little combat with some red caps or something like that. But for the time being, the first thing I'm going to do is roll some dice. So there's two things you can do, or actually a few. You can do the point buy system, which is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Or you can take your chances and roll. And I have two dice formulas. You can do right/die space 4d6 D1, which means roll 4 6-sided, drop 1. Or you can do 4d6 K3, which is keep the highest 2. So whatever method you want to do. or you can do point buy, or however you want to do it. I'm going to roll and see what happens. So I can roll pretty quickly 6 times because I have a little macro. So when you tie in this dice roll command, instead of hitting enter and having to retype it 6 times, you can actually drag and drop that down to the toolbar. So now I can just click on. So I'm going to do that 6 times. See, and this is what you'll get. So I got some strange results in there. I got a 5 in there, which is interesting. And then there's even a 9 in there. So that's different. And then there's the other way you can do it, which is the 4d6 drop the lowest. So it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to clear this, and you can see what how it works. So I have the syntax already typed. So you would type that into the chat. So what I'm going to show you is a command. So it's a /die space 4d6 k3 or d1. Either one works. And that's your dice command. And then you drag and drop it into the hotkeys. So I'm going to click on this 6 times. And as you can see, I got another interesting roll here. So you got an 11, 9, 16, 14, 10, and 8. I might keep that. That's not too bad. That's 16 and a 14. And yeah, it's pretty much a standard roll. So once you're done with that, what you'll do is you can drag those values to your character sheet. So Tristal doesn't, or excuse me, his nickname is Tristal. His real name is Relk or Relking. He's got several names. He's a 5th level druid. It's a male. I'm just not sure what race I'm going to make it. Maybe you guys can help me pick one. But I was narrowing it down to either a wood elf or a human or a half elf. One of those humanoid types. It could be a different type of elf or a specific human type, or even maybe a half-elf variant or a human variant. But nonetheless, it's going to be either elven or human, or both. So I'm going to take these numbers and drag them into these cells. Right now, they're all 10. So I'm going to give him an 8 strength, which isn't really required to be a druid. I mean, you don't have to be that strong. And then for his other ability, it will be a 9 for his charisma. So I got rid of the lower one. And now for his wisdom, which is probably his highest attribute that he needs for his build, is going to be 16. And then his dexterity is going to be 14. And then his con will probably be, let's see, his intelligence is going to be 10. His con is going to be, let's see, 11. And then his, let's see, do we have anything else? 8, I think that's it. So that's basically the build that you have to start with. So the first thing you do is ability scores. So that's important to know that. If you use the character wizard, you can kind of mix and match and skip around. Perfect timing for a druid. I'm playing a druid in Annis. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So now the next step is I'm going to, after I get the stats in there, now I'm going to go pick a background. So if I open up the backgrounds banners over here on the right, I can drag this open and take a look down this list. The most fitting ones are usually like a hermit or an outlander or a far traveler. I think I'll pick the hermit since he is kind of a loner. I don't want to get it, or the Fey Cross might actually be interesting. So you've seen the Twilight Realm, you're born in the mortal world, you crossed over by accident or by choice, you lived among the Fey for a while. You now are back, returned from the Feywild, perhaps you found a crossing. That's kind of cool, actually. I want to try this. Alright, so I'm going to do it. You can choose Elvish, Sylvan, or Undercommon. You can choose Arcana, History, Nature, or Perception. You have tools, you have an instrument, and some traveling clothes, and one of your features is Fey Touched. So you get one of these. That's kind of cool. We'll try it. So I'll go ahead and drag and drop this over. And now I get to pick any of these two. So I'm going to do Nature. And let's go with History. Or Arcana, actually. So that's kind of cool. So you get those two when you start your character. Normally, you're forced what abilities you get. So Normally we would pick the background because you're forced. In this case, we actually got a choice. So that was a Fey touch background. That comes from the, I believe, let's see, where did that come from? Fey touch is not a normal, or Fey cross. So Fey cross character comes from the Fey cross background module. So that's just something you should know, that it's not a standard background. And now I'm going to pick race. So what race should I pick, folks? It's either going to be human, half-elf variant, or human variant, or maybe a wood elf or something along those lines. So it could be a wood half-elf, I guess, if you want to call it that. So that's something. Hello, human variant. Greeting, youngsters. Hey, guys. Nice to see you. Okay, human variant it is. So human variant gives you a little bit more flexibility. Normally you would get +1 all the way down, but if you pick a human variant, you have a little bit more flexibility. So we can say that this person was from a certain part of the realms or whatever world that you're in. So I'm going to open up the, let's see, I want to go to images, and I want to get an idea of where he's from. So I'm going to go to the, let's see, that's the Forest of the Realms. And here's a Faerun map, which isn't very clear. There's the Yearwood map. And let's see what this looks like blown up. Yeah, it'll work. So here, most of the adventures are along the Sword Coast. I think that this individual will be from the High Forest. Normally, or the Moonwood, so that depends. So or maybe even the Lurkwood. That's an interesting place too. Could be Neverwinter Wood, any of those places. So now I got a rough idea of what type of human they might be mixed with, and then what type of elf. So that's cool. So now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and grab the races banner. And I'm going to come down through this list here until I find the human variant. And here it is right here from the Player's Handbook. So I'll just drag and drop that, and you'll get some choices. So make sure that you grab whatever choices it gives you. So let's see. We're going to go and grab, let's see, human variant. Just drag and drop. Okay, so basically you choose 2 abilities from the list below. So I could increase the strength and the charisma just to kind of bring him to par. Or if you want to expand on what he already has. So we can give him another wisdom point, but that's not going to increase this any. If you give him a con of +1, that will more than likely give him more hit points, so let's do that. And then let's take this 9 up to or 8 up to a 9, so it's not, well, that's not going to make that much of a difference. Yeah, I'll just put it on wisdom. Make his, or maybe even on constitution. Nope, I already got that. So dex, maybe dexterity, strength. I don't know. What do you guys think? I throw it on wisdom or something else? Because I can offset this weak strength, or I can add this 1 to his charisma to kind of make that flat. So you don't always have to do stat increases just to, you know, to metagame or whatnot. So you can do whatever you need. Discord. Hey, thanks, thanks, Harry. That's great. All right, so what do you guys think? I get to increase 1 more. I pick con because that'll benefit him, sure. So any of the odd numbers will benefit these guys. So if I pick a, you know, anything like odd and make it even, it'll actually, it'll bring it up. So it just depends on what you guys think. I don't know. I think I might just go with wisdom. That way he can have a higher wisdom score, because that's what they rely on for their spell casting and a lot of their abilities. But if I wanted to rectify some of these lower scores, I could. Could just take and put it on strength so he's not so weak. But that's okay. He's weak anyway, so. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and commit. And now I get to pick 1 more skill amongst this list. So probably nature would make sense. So let's look at his, but we haven't picked his class yet. So we want to pick something that he might not get from his class. So how about, I don't know, maybe persuasion, no, nature, medicine might be one. So we could give him the medicine attribute, or we can give him insight. Animal handling might be another one. Yeah, I'll give him animal handling, just in case. But this is coming from his world that he came from, so survival probably is the best one. Alright, so survival, nature, arcana, so we just, now when we pick the class itself, we'll get to enjoy a couple more picks from that. Okay, so we got that ready. Now I'm going to open up the little magnifying glass over here, open this up, and I'm going to drag and drop the actual class. So if you go over here to the right, you go to classes, and come down the list, I'm going to go for Druid, and there's one from the Elvish archetypes. That's interesting, but he's not really a full elf, so I will just do the regular Player's Handbook version. We'll see what that gives me. So it's all drag and drop. Now I get 2 more skills to pick. So looking at, we already have nature, arcana, survival. So probably animal handling and maybe medicine. Because it kind of depends on the build that you want to do. Or perception. Maybe perception instead of medicine. That's more common. So that's basically his skills. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So not bad for a first level character. So this one doesn't have their archetype yet. So we'll do that. And then at 4th level, we have to make... Oh yeah, wisdom. Yeah, we did that. Wisdom it is. So the next thing is to level up. So I don't want to do too much more detailing until I've leveled up. And this particular build, they get their archetype at level 3 or 2. So I have to drag and drop this actual little square here, or it might be a dragon head or a shield, depends on your interface. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop this back into this box. And now it's going to have me pick my circle. So he's going to be, let's see, there's Circle of the Campfire, Circle of Stars, Spores, there's the Shepherd. The Shepherd is basically you commune with Spirit of Nature. That wouldn't be too bad. And then there's, of course, the Moon. Circle of the Moon is cool because you get a lot of cool, more access to better animals. There's Circle of the Land, which kind of makes sense for him also. He's more of a safeguard, traditional, kind of druidic order that helps, that helps protect the forest. So I don't know. It's Circle of Stars isn't necessarily. Let's see. Maybe because they're time immemorial. See, he came back from the Feywild. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is maybe the Circle of Dreams. The Druids are a member of the Circle of Dreams, hail from regions that have strong ties to the Feywild. So there we go. That's going to be his circle right there. So Circle of Dreams. And it fits the theme because he's actually lived in the Feywild for a while and he came back. So that really fits. So that's the circle. And now I'm going to drag and drop this again to get to 3rd level. And now I'm going to go to 4th level and we have a choice. We can pick a feat or we can do an ability score increase. I'm really thinking about just doing the ability score increase and canceling out some of those lower numbers because we get to do 2. So I can actually take 2 points if I wanted to and put it to strength so he's not so weak. Or I can try to enhance what he already has. Maybe put 1 on con and 1 on strength. That might be a thing. Or 1 on dex. Let me see what dex does. Yeah, that didn't change anything. So let's see. If I go with 10 on strength, that doesn't help a lot, but it cancels out any of his negative numbers. And then having a charisma of 9 doesn't bother me. Or I can just make this 9 and then change this to 10. And that flattens it out and kind of gives them a better chance at things. Or I can give them an increase on con, I think is the way to go. Yeah, that actually gives them something. And then I will just take 1 off charisma. There we go. So that balances them out and it gives them a little bit more hit points. I mean, you could take a feat, but you know, the feats are very limited. I think ability score increases are actually the better way to go in the long run. A lot of people want Warcaster and that kind of stuff. Or extra wild shapes, or, you know, things that would really beef up his ability to do a certain thing. But I kind of want it more overall, so I think that was a better choice. And now I have 1 more level, because this is going to be a 5th level character. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop this up in here, and bammo. So now we're at, basically, here we are at the 5th level. This is the highest level that I want to take him to. So that's really simple to level a character up, as long as you have your content and such. So his stats aren't too bad. He's got a 9, 14, 13, 10, 17, 9. That's not too bad. His name is Relk, or Relkin. And he's also known as Tristal. He has different names, but Tristal is his human name. Relkin is his, kind of his, what the elves call him. He wears these elk horns, and then he has, you know, a kind of a affinity for the land, and he's fey touched on top of that. So that's where he kind of gets a lot of his origin from. So let's see what else what can we do here. Let's see. So we did the main part. So we did the ability scores, background, race, and the druid class, and then we leveled it up. So he's a level 5 druid now. So let's see. Hey peeps. Hey Shell. So what we're going to do now is, once we have the basis going on, let's take a look at the skills. So he has 5 skills. If you don't have at least 4 skills at level 1, you're probably broken or doubled up somewhere. So you want to check that before you go to level 2. Another thing I recommend is to export the character. So in this case, I don't care if it gets broken or not, but if you have a character that you really like, have your game master export it before you level up. That's a really good tip. Let's see. So on the abilities tab, he gets a feat anyways because he's a human variant. That's right. So we'll pick one. So that's good. I'm glad I didn't pick a variant. He can call an animal spirit. The ability score increase we chose was strength and con. So I always notate that in here. That way people understand that, you know, that you chose that. Let's see, a cantrip. Circle of Dreams. I want to look at that, see what we actually get. That's the Druid Circle. Druidic is a language, so we'll have that. Preserve Life. So that is something that I have to take a look at. Soothsayer. Wow, okay. A lot of these are new to me, so I like it. Wild Companion. This is an option, but you can gain a spirit that assumes animal form. Take a look at that. And Wild Shape. Do that. Skills. So they got to gain 1 proficiency skill. We did that. I believe that was... we chose survival for that one. Herbalism kit, a tool, or an instrument. I'm going to go with probably a tool. Maybe he makes arrows or something like that, or weapons, who knows. Let's see, so I'm going to go ahead and add the Herbalism kit. Proficient with it, and I'm going to base it on wisdom. That seems the wisest choice. And then there is another skill, so I can either pick an instrument or a tool. So he's already an herbalist. Maybe he's a brewer. Maybe he can brew potions or alchemy or something. So I'm not sure what you would call that. It's herbalism is just spelled wrong too. Herbal. Wow. My spelling is horrible. So herbalism. Okay. And then we're going to take a... Herbalism pretty much is that. So maybe it's botany, or what would you call that if you were someone that knows? Well, that's nature. So he already has a nature check. So probably a tool of some sort or an instrument. You know what? He's going to know an instrument. That's makes sense for him. Kind of keeps himself occupied. Maybe he sings or makes songs to call the animals. Not really a bard or anything, but he definitely likes music. And we're going to give him a pan flute. So it's kind of themed for his, like a wooden flute type thing. Nothing metal or wooden or anything like, or not wooden, but stone. And that is going to be based off of his charisma. So he may not have a great charisma, but when he plays that pan flute, he's pretty charming. So there we go. So that's basically, we took care of the feat is going to be something, let's see. I'm going to pick the feat now so we can get that out of the way. So here's a bunch of feats. Let's see. I'm going to make him a chef. Crossbow expert, duelist, high magic, dungeon delver, durable. Eldritch Adept? What is that? It's an Eldritch invocation. It's kind of like you get a spell. Let's see. Fairy Friend. You can gain a common or uncommon fairy bargain without paying for it. Doesn't count towards your limit of attuned items and fairy bargains. Huh. Interesting. Fey Mine. Fey Teleportation. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so you have to be a high elf in order to have that, so that's not going to work. Let's see. Fey Mind. You've developed a Fey creature's defenses against enchantment. You increase your wisdom or charisma score by 1. You're immune to being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. So you basically have elvish qualities. That's actually pretty good, actually. I might take that. Because that makes sense for his build. It fits the entire build of this. That's the next thing. Let's see. Second chance. And then, you know, of course, you can always do Warcaster. Here's Wood Elf Magic. Let's see what that does. Oh, of course, you have to be a Wood Elf. Never mind. Warcaster is good, but it's just overused. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this Fey Mind, because he's Fey touched, and he went to the Fey world, so I'm going to go ahead and drag that over there. And I can do Charisma or Wisdom. So our Wisdom's not bad right now. It's 17. If I take Charisma, that'll offset that ugly 9 there. Or I can just add to that Wisdom score. So what do you guys think? Celtic Harp. Hey, Shell. Hey, Harry. Thanks for the super chat. Let's see. Is that you, Nakara, LB? Yeah, it's kind of like a similar, but I'll see what it looks like. Yeah, Brewer, says the dwarf. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Wisdom. I mean, the Charisma is not going to help that much anyways. It'll balance it out, but it's really not going to be worth... it's kind of a waste if I do it that way. Let's see, there's Swamp Dweller. Is there a forest one? Let's see what that looks like. The Fairy Blessing, Fairy Friend. Fairy Blessing. Oh. wish I would have saw this. You get wisdom or charisma. Creatures of the Fey type regard you as equivalent in social status. Your proficiency bonus, if any, is doubled when making charisma checks against Fey creatures. You have advantage on saving throws for charm. That would have been actually a much better choice, but I've already kind of went this way, so that's fine. No big deal. Yeah, I'll just go with this. Wisdom bonus. Bam. Now, it said that... Let's see. What was it that I just chose? Fey Mind. So Fey Mind is just going to basically give me the kind of the elvish type touch to him. Yeah, so he gets the Fey ancestry ability basically. Wild Shape. Their Preserve Life is when you spell cast reduces a creature to 0 hit points. You can use a bonus action to make a Wisdom and or Medicine or Nature check that equals to 10 or half the damage you dealt. That is dealt. Whichever number is higher. On a success, you knock the creature out instead of killing it. A creature knocked out in this way is unconscious and stable at 0 hit points. So it's kind of like a way to take people out without killing them. That's pretty cool. I don't know why they call it Preserve Life, because it's so close to the Cleric ability. It should have called it like Nature's... what do you call that when you're lenient on somebody? They should have called it like Nature's Mercy or something like that. That doesn't make sense to call it Preserve Life. Youngster. Alright, so let's go to the next step where we're going to start plugging in some of this stuff. I might have to code some of it, but we'll see. So we got the abilities figured out, kind of. And the feat we chose was Fey Mind, so I'm going to notate it here, even though we already know it's up here. We got Survival. We got weapons that are choice. Okay, so I can pick Elvish, and I'm going to pick Sylvan. And Druidic, I forgot about that. So we get to pick a couple languages, and then we get Druidic as a bonus language, which really isn't a language. However, if your DM knows what they're doing, you can come up to the options. Now, players can't do this, but the GM can. Go to languages, and then you can just add a language. So I'm going to type in Druidic. Make sure it's spelled right. And then for the font, I'm just going to use the Elvish font. That's about the closest we're going to get. And now when we actually use it in the chat, Druidic should come up. Yep. And then when you type something, yeah, you'll get the Elvish. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't show the Elvish, but nonetheless, Druidic is on there. That's cool. All right, so that is that. Experience messaging. Okay. Let's see. Custom decal. We already have that. All right. So we got the Fey Mind to deal with. Now let's look. Okay, we've got the languages dealt with. Now let's take a look at their inventory. So I have Rob2e's automatic thing loaded, and it gave me the Druidic stuff, so I'm cool with that. You get a scimitar, which is cool. You get a wooden shield. You get some torches, water skin. Let's see, yep, rations, leather armor, and then you get a bedroll, a backpack. So I don't really have any background equipment. So the background that I chose was a Fey cross, that's why. So I'm just going to go with something that's like a Far Traveler or something. I think that's good enough for background equipment. So I'm going to go to backgrounds, parcels. And the parcels are created in a module that I have loaded. These kind of make it quicker for you to build your character. So the background equipment, bundles, and let's see. So there's the archaeologist. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of these, so I think I'm going to just grab like the hermit background or something. That makes more sense in regards to what type of background equipment they get. So these are already created. So if I go to the hermit and I open that up, you get 5 gold and you get some of this other stuff. But you get a winter blanket, which I don't know. You get a scroll, map case, herbalism kit. Does he already have one? No, he doesn't. So that'll be handy. Some notes. Okay, so I guess I'll just drag and drop this in here. And that gives you the rest of your gear from your background and a little bit of coins. And looks like I have a tinderbox, wooden shield, some rope. That's not too bad. So I guess I'm going to organize this. So I'm going to just put what container this stuff is in or on. So this would be a backpack. And then the clothes he's probably wearing. Herbalism kit will go in a pouch. Do I have a pouch? No, I do. So, and I need the flute too. So I will grab the flute pouch. And a component pouch might make sense, as the mistletoe is a spellcasting focus. So let's give him a pouch. And then we have a water skin. I'll actually make that too. Never can have enough water. Herbalism kit is good. Mess kit. I think he needs a mess kit, so I'm going to actually get rid of that. The notes are going to be in the scroll case. The herbalism kit will be in the pouch. Rations are going to be in the backpack for sure. The rope will be coiled up near the backpack. Sprig of mistletoe will go in the pouch. Tinderbox and torches, those will go back there. And water skins will kind of hang off the pouch there. So that's pretty much what he has. Now he doesn't have any missile weapons. He's got a scimitar and a shield. So I think I'm going to get him a sling. And some bullets. Because he needs to have some way to attack from range. And then here's the sling bullets. And the little bullets will go in the pouch too. Little rocks or whatever they are. So now he has a missile weapon and a melee weapon. And he's able to use both of them proficiently. So that's cool. So that's pretty much it for inventory. I might give him a potion of healing. So just give him 1 potion. That's not too ridiculous. And then that will be in his pouch. Here we go. So, cool. All right. Hey, if you want to run into... yeah. Yeah, well, it's not the sling thing. It's just the actual leather strap one. But yeah, the hoopak is what you're saying. Yeah, 46. Yeah, that's definitely gets us up and out there. How you doing, by the way? You still role playing, or what's going on with that? 1946. Wow, Harry, you been around? That's great. Maybe you were playing during the chainmail days in the early 70s. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so now back to the build. I might give him a couple more coins, like 11 copper, 3 silver, you know, just to kind of maybe give him 7 gold, because he's 5th level. So my god, he should have a couple more things. He's got 10 days of food, which I think if he lives off the land, I'm just going to give him 5 days. He doesn't need to carry that much food. And then as far as everything else goes, it looks good. And the sling doesn't really weigh much, but I'm going to put 1/10 of a pound in there. It should have some sort of weight. And the pan flute, that's what I need to get. There's the pan flute. And that's going to go in the pouch as well. Okay, so there we go. All the different stuff that he has. He has an Herbalism kit and the efficiencies for it. Inventory is all set. Now the notes. So he's going to be a male. He's going to look like he's about 28 maybe at the youngest. He's going to be 5'11". He's not super tall, but he's not short. And I think he's going to be about 160 pounds soaking wet. Neutral, good. And notice I'm spelling it out. Gotta spell it right. Don't put acronyms or leave that blank, because if someone casts a spell, protection from good, it's not going to work. Now this is going to take some time. I gotta figure out the deity, because there's Sylvanas and there's Maliki and there's all this other. But I want to do the background because this looked interesting. That's why I picked the Fey Crossed. So in the Fey Crossed, he's returned from the Feywild. But now you are back, you returned. Perhaps you found a crossing like the one that first brought you to the land. Maybe it was a portal or something. Perhaps you stumbled into an ancient grove after a night drinking with the satyrs. Actually, I might make him a satyr sidekick. That would be cool. So let's do this table. Why did you cross? So why did he cross over from the prime material plane into the Fey world? Or to the, Unseli, or whatever you call that plane. So why? Let's roll. Let's see. And I'm going to put that in the notes area. So he crossed over seeking a bargain. Nice. So crossed over seeking a bargain. And why did they come back? Let's see. Find out. Followed a loved one. Whoa. So that's kind of interesting. Let's find out what that's all about. So initially went there to seek a bargain. Maybe the person that he sought the bargain with, he fell in love with. I don't know. Interesting. And then the last one is the lore of the past. What do they know from a forgotten craft or technique? A secret, the location of a forgotten place. I think I like that. Or the truth behind a popular legend. What do you guys think? The history of a now ruined town, city, or stronghold. A secret scandal. Nah, I don't see that. So it's either a location, a legend, or a town or something like that. I think I like those. Yeah, I hear you, Harry. Yeah, I agree, Shell. We should have more stuff. Get closer to his Fey ancestry. Yeah, that's very true. So, I like that. So, I think he's going to know the location of an actual place or a popular legend. Might know the truth behind it. Or maybe it's a forgotten place he knows about. Yeah, let's do that. That's pretty simple. It's open enough to where you don't have to explain every little thing, because if you pick a town or something, you really have to build that. Forgotten place could be anything. So I like the more of the openness about it. It's less specific. Okay, so that's that. And now let's see what the actual Fey Touch. So Fey Touch, basically you're recognized as one of their own. So they will accept you more. Okay. Cool. Let's see. That's a feature that they get. Now let's go with personalities. Roll this, see what we get here. I exercise little control over my emotions. Yeah, I don't see that. Still wants that, so okay. So maybe that's supposed to happen. And then now one other trait. Hopefully it's not the same one. I find everything I encounter in this world dull and without charm. I have no qualms in saying so. Okay? So he's kind of thinks that the material world is not as good as where he had gone. So that kind of makes sense. Like, well, it's better in the Fey world. Beauty. The world is a pale reflection of the Feywild, and what beauty there is must be upheld. Yeah, that's definitely. That's why he thinks it sucks. And the bond. I am charged with fulfilling a mission. And there's one that says I must fulfill the terms of a Fey bargain. That definitely is going to be it. There's a bargain that was made, and that's why he crossed over to begin with. So let's stick with that. And then the flaw would be something like distrust everyone because it feels lost and defenseless in the mortal world. No, I don't think so. It sounds too. I take jokes and pranks too far. Maybe. I'm incapable of letting the slightest disrespect to my person go, especially from a mortal. You know, I'm capable of letting overindulge in vices. I follow my feelings first and think second. Yeah, that goes along with his personality. So, yep. So he follows his feelings more than his thoughts. So that's kind of cool. All right, so that's that. So now let's see. Log sheet. We're not going to worry about that. Okay, action steps. So some of the actions are set up already. For the sling, I'm going to have 20 of these, and it is one-handed, so I don't have to worry about that. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but at least I have a way to mess with folks. Let's see. So preserve life is something that I need to look at. I think it's more of a note, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to a druid. Was that what it was? Was it preserve life? Was that the thing? Yeah. That's from the Circle of Dreams. Yep. Balmer of the Summer Court. As a bonus action, if you see a creature, you can spend a number of those dice equal to half your druid level or less. Roll the spent dice and add them together. The target regains a number of hit points equal to the total. The target also gains 1 temporary hit point per die spent. Interesting. How is this set up? Ah, cool. So wild shape. So how many wild shapes does a druid normally get at 5th level? I know it isn't 2. It's got to be more than 2. Maybe it is just 2. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this because I'm going to use the Rob2e thing, so I don't worry about that. And I'll make another group called Wild Shape just so I have a separate group for it away from my spells. But I can keep track of the actual Wild Shape ability here at the Druid area. So I'll have to take a look at that. Fey Cross, let's see. So we already got that taken care of. Now I want to look at the actual... Let's see. So I'm going to take a look at the actual class and go down the list here, see how many cantrips they get. Pretty sure he's somewhere in there said he get a bonus cantrip. I don't know. But at 5th level, they get a +3 bonus on proficiency, so that's right. And they get 3 cantrips, and they get Wild Shape. And how many do they get Wild Shapes? I think it's their wisdom score has something to do with it. And then you get for 5th level, you get 4, 3, and 2. Okay, cool. Yep, makes sense. So, Wild Shape. Yeah, I'm going to go into... I have a module loaded here, and it's also extensions. It's just one-click Druid Essentials. So if I go into the story entry here, it has instructions on how to do it. So if you have this module, do the due diligence and read about this. So I'm not a Moon Druid, so I have to use the non-Moon Druid table. And in here it says your wild shape information. So at level 2, 1/4 max. At level 4, half. And no flying. So I can have a swimming form, but I can't have a flying form. Which is fine. You can stay in a V shape for a number of hours equal to your druid level. Rounded down. Yep. Okay, got it. So that's that. And the wild shapes you can pick from is from here. So this is up to CR half. So I'm going to make a new group called Wild Shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and add a power, which is this little star down here. On the right hand side, this is where you define the actual group, power group. So that's going to be called Wild Shape for the Druid, or I'll just say Wild Shape. And then once you click over here on the left, it'll update and make a new group for you. So now I'm going to just drag over the shapes that I want. So for CR 1/8, there's a poisonous snake, there's a giant frog. I want the giant frog, like that. Ribbit, ribbit. And then there is the warhorse. And what else? Let's see. I want to grab that other table. So the non-moon druid. And here's the CR2 stuff. Okay, so elk, for sure. They don't call him Relk for no reason. So he has an elk, where he can kind of skedaddle. He has kind of an aquatic form. He's kind of a tough warhorse form. I don't think he has a warhorse, though. It's not his style. Giant lizard, panther, riding horse. Maybe a riding horse, but not the... boar would be another one. See him having that. Let's see. Giant weasel. Giant rat. Camel. Let's see. Here's the other one. CR0. None of those, really. Maybe a weasel, but... Giant weasel. It's kind of... And then... Giant badger. He already has a boar. Giant badger. Spider. I don't see him doing the spider thing, so... Here's the no flying creatures. Yep. Okay. Yep. I think we're good. So that's a pretty good start for his level. So that's 4 different shapes that he's familiar with that he can transform into. Now for wild shape, it says that so you stay in there for a number of rounds. Let's see, half your druid level rounded down. So he can stay in his form for roughly 2 hours. And you can revert using a bonus action. You automatically revert to your normal self, blah, blah, blah. Game stats are replaced. Okay. So we know that part of it. You can use your action to magically assume the shape. Use this feature twice, and you regain expended uses. Okay, so that's right. It's set up. It was set up for 2. So it's fine. So now I need to go to the chart where they have the actual layout of the healing and such. So let me look at that. So non-moon druid. But that's the moon. That's the combat shape, wild shape thing. We don't get that. That's only for that circle. Okay. So I'm going to make that thing I just deleted, which was silly, but oh well. So I can go to the spells, Rob2e coding effects spells, and you go to the class features, and if you need to add these, just know where they're stored at. So I need to have the class features, and I want to go to the Druid. So source is Druid, and I'm going to borrow the Elven thing too on here for the racial stuff. Okay, so combat wild. So here's the wild shape, so I'm going to drag that back into Druid. I shouldn't have deleted it. There we go. I don't know, why is that doing that? Huh. This is just Druid wild shape, and there's some healing involved here. Oh well. So anyways, I got 2 of those. Preserve life. Now I need to make a group or add somewhere where I'm going to have my racial thing. So I'm going to go ahead and create another group. And this is going to be my human variant stuff. And one of them happens to be that Fey thing, which is like the Elven. So it's Fey touched. Where is that at? Where's the actual description? Fey mind, actually. Okay, so we're going to call it Fey Mind, but it's going to have the same exact coding or notes as the racial traits. So let me go to all here. So I'm unfiltering this so I don't miss anything. And let's see, where's the human? Is there a human variant thing here? And human. Okay. So I'm going to use the Elven one, so I'll just rename it. So it is called Fey Ancestry. So I will drag that into this human variant, and instead of half elf, I call it Fey Mind. Because it's basically doing the same thing. Alright, cool. So that takes care of the Fey Mind. Fey Touched is that on here already? I think. Drag this here. Nope, it's a background feature, so Fey Touched. Yeah, it's more of a not an actual. Yeah, it's right here. So it's more of a feature than an actual ability. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's see. We have our Redic stuff. We have our actions, standard actions. We have our wild shapes. Now it's just spells. So I will go in and take a look, make sure before. But I get 3 cantrips right off the get-go. So what I'm going to do is go through. Let's see, we already did Fey Mind. Call Spirit. That's something that. So you could take one of your wild shape actions and call a spirit. So I'll put that over here if it'll let me. Let's see. So it's a druidic thing. So we're just going to put that in the druid area. It's more or less a note. We'll get into, how we can do it, but basically you can cast either Find Familiar or Protection from Evil and Good as a druid spell. So that's Call Primal Spirit. That's another feature, so let me grab that. Oh, it's already on here. Okay, never mind. Yep, it's already there. Soothsayer. When you prepare your druid spells, you can choose some of your spells from the spell list of other classes rather than from the druid spell list. Each non-druid spell you prepare this way must be a divination spell. Okay, whatever. Wild Companion option. So that might be something that optional, so I'm not going to worry about it. So there's the language, we already dealt with that. Circle of Dreams. Yep. Okay, cool. So that takes care of most of it. And now I just have to pick the cantrips and the spells. So what I will do is go to the spells area. I will change the top up here to the 5e coding effect spells. And then down below, I'll select 0. And then source, in this case, will be Druid. And then I'll go from there. Alright, so I definitely want Druid Craft. I always like that. The Druid Craft is a good thing. I like Guidance. That's always nice. And one other thing that might... Shillelagh. But I get tired of Shillelagh. I think Mending or Magic Stone, Gust, Frostbite, Druidcraft. Yeah, I might go with that. Or Thunderclap is the only other thing I can think. Yeah, I might do Thunderclap or Thorn Whip. Yeah, because it increases in damage as you level up. So yeah, Thorn Whip is awesome. So I gotta have one offensive one, and then one... And then this changes to 2d6 because of my level. So right now it's 1d6. So I'm going to just take and drag that up there. Now when I cast it, it'll be at the right level. That's awesome. All right, so Preserve Life was something that we've already dealt with, so don't have to worry about that. All right, so there's the cantrips. Let me double check, make sure we don't have anything extra. Let's see, Fade Touch, we have that. We have the spell casting. Oh, we get, you gain the ability to summon a spirit that assumes, okay. That's the Wild Companion, so we'll see about that. I think I might go for that because of the nature of this character, since he's kind of a loner. I don't think he travels too much in parties per se. So I might put this in his... Put it in here just in case. Okay, I gotta think about this for a minute because there's a lot to do. Okay, so that would be something I'd have to look at later. I've been at... Okay, so Druid is basically where I'm going to put that, so that way it's in all one. And then you have these little boxes here where we can check off when we use the abilities. Alright, so there's Guidance, Thorn Whip. So those are the 3 cantrips. And now we get a variety of 1st through 3rd level spells. I am going to just drag some in here. So we have, these are 1st level. So Goodberry, Fog Cloud, Healing Word, Tangle, Detect Magic probably. Cure Wounds. Let's see. What else do we have? Fairy Fire. Those are good spells. Thunder Wave. Okay. Animal Friendship, Cure Wound, Goodberry. Those are good. Okay, so now for some 2nd level. Let's go with Bark Skin, Animal Messenger, Flaming Sphere, Bind traps. Heat metal. That's nasty. Hold person. Locate object. Moonbeam. And protection from poison. I think that's a pretty good mix of spells that you can call upon. All the other spells you probably won't. Acid out trace, I think I'll add that too. But that is basically his spells that he requests. He does a long list. Acid out trace, that was. Okay, so now for some third level spells. Let's see. All lightning, conjure animals. Definitely conjure animals. Dispel magic. Meld into stone. Speak with plants. Water breathing. Water walk. Plant growth. Daylight. And call light. Go. So sometimes when you're building spellcasters, and the reason I have so many spells is because these are the main spells that I'll pick. It doesn't mean I can cast all those right away. I only get so many slots per day. Those are just the ones I can draw upon. Now the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that sometimes when you use the effects, you have to make sure that the correct ability is selected. It's supposed to do this automatically, but for some reason it doesn't always do that. So now when it doesn't trigger the parse. So now you want to make sure that all of these things here are based on wisdom, if that makes sense. And then when you actually open the spells themselves, so let me go to, let's see, I'm going to get out of the edit mode and change the mode to first. Yeah, so combat actions. So when you look at these, you expand these. Anything that has a saving throw, you want to make sure that DC challenge ratings are correct. Sometimes they don't parse over right away. Not sure why. They look good now. So that is awesome. So really the only thing else is to track some supplies. And if you go to since you have so many spells, if you actually go to preparation mode, you can only prepare so many per day. So I will do call lightning and maybe speak with plants. And then the other ones I just do bark skin, flaming sphere, heat metal, and maybe moonbeam or something like that. So I don't need acid out trace maybe. So you're only able to prepare so many. So we'll do cure wounds, tangle, and maybe one thunderwave. So once you've prepared those, you'd switch over to combat and actions. And these ones with the little or a little star next to the one you actually have available to you at the time. So that is that. And then if you want to track your items, you can do that. So if I add another power, and this is going to be, why does it look like it's goofy? It's only one. Not a new spell. So add a power group. Why is it only one? Oh, that's because I'm in there. Okay. So now let's see. This is going to be my consumable items. Now this is optional. You don't have to do this. But in the consumables area, I'd definitely track the potion of healing. Gonna do your water. And we're gonna do the rations. And let's go ahead and do Let's see, rations, water, food, and then the torches. There we go. So now I'm going to go to preparation mode, change all those to once, because they're one-time use. And I got 2 water skins, 10 torches. I have 5 days worth of food and 1 healing potion. And then just right click on the healing potion, add an action, add the healing function, and then just open this up, grab 2d4, right click, drop, put the bonus in there, and we're done. So that is basically the full character. All right, folks. Looks like Shivi Disciple. Yeah, you missed quite a bit. We made a 5th level cleric. What level? Or excuse me, 5th level druid. Wish we could zoom in. Yeah, there's not much we can do about that. The other thing is, out of curiosity, if we create a homebrew subclass and our players go to prepare their spells, but it doesn't give them the option to do so in the preparation screen, how do you fix that? You don't. Homebrew characters is you have to manually select your spells. If you set it up correctly, it will give you the correct amount of slots, but it's not going to give you anything that is automated in that regard. So when I built this character, it gave me my slots, but I still have to drag and drop all the spells over. So I'm not sure what exactly you want it to do. But when I go into preparation mode, I have to manually prepare my spells. So regardless of what you're looking for, if you build it correctly, it's going to give you the correct amount of slots, and it's going to give you a pool of spells to work from if you have that selected correctly in the spellcasting trait. So when you want to build a actual spellcaster, there's a video online. Look up Philip Gregg's videos. That's Zacchaeus, and it's on YouTube. And basically he has the syntax on there and the correct wording to build the homebrew classes, and there's one specifically for spellcasters, so make sure that you use that. But it's pretty much the majority of the build there. I think I'm going to call it a day. But this is a fully fleshed out druid. If you missed this, you can always go back to the beginning. I went through it step by step, or at least, you know, took care of each page on here. So everything is all ready to go for playing, including some of the background and such. So good to go. So he's pretty well organized. And then I'm going to go ahead and do right/save in the chat window just in case. If you wanted to export this character, you can go to characters and click on this little edit button, and this little blue arrow will appear, and you can export the XML file. It won't export the artwork or the token, just the data. So just keep that in mind. But I went ahead and made this little background graphic. And then for the library itself, I had a whole bunch of Rob2e's coding effects. I had Diablo Bob's Druid Essentials. I wanted to show you how that looks. So I will go ahead and go to the library. And actually, I'm going to go to the maps and images. So maps and images. Let's see. I want to go to the... There's a pack that I have. Here's a forest map. Let's go with a forest gridded map here. A little dark. Let's go with the Great Stump. Actually, I want to use what's her name's. That's really good. It's called the Druid something. Druids. Can't see it now. I know I loaded the module. I'll just use the forest pack. Okay, so here's some forest ruins. These are some of Josh's maps. And then come in here and zoom in on it. Unlock it. I'm going to turn off the line of sight for right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag over Relk. Is there a grid on this thing? Yes, there is. No, there is no grid on it. There we go. So there we go for the grid. I'm going to turn that down. Okay, so this is basically, this is Relk's token here. And I'm in play mode now. And I turned off line of sight so we can see what's going on here. So if he wants to turn into a wild shape, bring up his character sheet. I'm going to check off one of the wild shape usages. That means you used it. And then I'm going to grab the wild shapes that I put on here earlier, which were from Diablo Bob's Druid, one-click Druid. So he wants to turn into a boar. Let's say he's under attack or something. So if you click on the first button, it should change this token along with the combat tracker token, and will change the stats around to reflect the boar. So let's see what happens here. Yep, so there's the boar icon. There's the icon up here. And then you use all these little abilities here to run the animal. So you got an attack roll, you have charging, you have damage, regular damage with your tusks, and then you have an effect if you knock someone down, they'll be prone. So you have all those abilities for the boar. So if for some reason you receive damage and it exceeds the threshold of the actual animal, so you only have 11 hit points right now. So if he takes enough damage, let's say his wounds go to 12, then it will revert back, but it has to be done in the combat tracker. So let me grab a NPC and thump on him for a minute. So I'll just take this acolyte character here. We'll say it's an evil priest that's after him. So if you go to the offensive area and let's say we hit him with a club a few times, see what happens. So there's some damage. Okay, he's wounded. And then you're going to roll again for more damage, just to test this out. Oh, that's the hit roll, excuse me. Critical hit. This should do it. Huh. Well, he's got a lot of... Still has a lot of hit points. And let's see. Let's do that again. Okay, now he's down to 7, so he's getting there. Still alive. I guess he absorbed some of it, I guess. I don't know. Let's see, let's try it again. Okay, there's that. The Relk and the boar is hanging in there. Okay, so he reverts back to his normal self, and he loses the wild shape. So that's pretty cool. So that's something I wanted to show you guys. So if you get the module and the extension, you'll have to load those. It's called the Critically Awesome Essentials Module One-Click Druid. It works for 5th edition. I don't think that it works for Pathfinder or not that yet. But when you use that module, you have to kind of use it with the, I think you have to, there's a one-click more as well, so you have more options. And you can use it with the other mods, but anyhow, it changes the druid back when you take enough damage. And then the bleed over damage from that is 2 now. So it's almost like you had 11 temporary hit points, and then whatever damage bleeds over carries over to your regular form, and you revert back. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, so that's pretty much all I got. Hopefully you guys are... Yep, that's right. Wannabe famous followers? Yeah, I don't know who that PTIGG... Yeah, that's a spammer. Philip Gregg on YouTube, yes. Yeah, he has these tutorial videos. It'd be easier to watch those and explain it, but when you make homebrew classes, you have to do it a certain way, and you have to learn the different syntax. Yep, exactly. All right, folks, I think that's it. But the Shivy, just yeah, you need to look into more mods. But the Druid Essential thing isn't. You don't have to do that. The way that most people do it is that they'll put the animal form on the combat tracker, make it friendly, and then the DM shares it with that player so they can control the animal form. The only thing is that makes the combat tracker kind of a mess, so it's cooler when you can use something like that. So that's just something you might want to check out. But there we go. That's our Relk there, and all his actions right here. And if I put the Acolyte there, the Acolyte's the bad guy. Anyways, the Druid would probably, let's see, the Druid would probably try to use his Thorn Whip, so let's see what happens. If he moves here, we do the cast, and he hits, so now we're going to roll the actual damage. Oh yeah, heavy damage, so that was nice. Alright, so I'm going to call it a stream. Thanks for joining, everybody. Again, this was a level 5 Druid build. He was Circle of Dreams, and this guy was a Fey-touched human variant. He's 5th level. Stats were pretty average. Everything was set, so we had the main area, you do your ability scores, background, race, then class, and then we leveled up within here, so you just drag this over to level up this little link here, and now he's level 6. And then all you have to do is go through and organize and plug in all the rest of your choices after that. So you always do your ability scores first, background second, race third, class and level last. So I'll call it a stream. Thanks for everyone for joining. Thanks for the tips out there, Harry. And